Here we go, the kickoff to the big summer months of football here in North America. The Nations League just a couple sleeps away for everyone. The Final Four emerging or collecting. All the teams are already there in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. This is the most anticipated CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. Just the second one all time. But we didn't know 2 years ago, right? We were like, what is this? What is this mysterious tournament you want us to jump on board? Well, the Nations League has been a success everywhere. I had my guard up. I'm sure many of you had your guard up, but it has been a success. It is, again, in Europe. People are looking forward to these big games down the stretch here. And now, you got to earn your spot. USA and Mexico had to earn their spot. Granted, it was against competition they were heavily favored in, but they've made it through. 2 years ago, they were in Denver, Colorado, and they played in the final. Hotly contested semifinals featuring Honduras and Costa Rica. But this Final Four is completely different. Neither USA nor Mexico are the number one seeded team heading into this Final Four. That's Canada. It's already been a big Canadian. The Canadian golfer won the Canadian Open. Canadian sport, Jamal Murray winning the NBA championship. So Canadian sport is on the rise. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're doing something right. And this soccer team, we'll talk a little bit about Canada because they are the favorites. They're the number one seeded team, which means they avoid USA and Mexico, who have to play to get to the final. It's refreshing that there's a more unexpected nature to Mexico than just say USA and Mexico in the final. And that's Canada's handiwork. We appreciate that because CONCACAF is stronger with a good Canada. Panama, not to be overlooked either. I think they're going to be very competitive in that game because they've earned it. Beating Costa Rica, knocking out the Ticos, who were a World Cup team and pretty good in the World Cup after that early blowout to the Spanish. So today on the Soccer OG, forgive my voice and my lungs, a lot of travel and lack of sleep has been... Anyway, no tears. Check out the Soccer OG podcast where all podcasts are available. I am joined by Michele Giannone of TUDN and Univision. We preview this Nations League and this summer with the Gold Cup. Check it out where all podcasts are available. Check it out right now after watching this video. And like and subscribe us here. I'm going to stop right now. I mean it this time. Hit that button. Like. I'll hit the like button and we keep clapping. Okay, thank you. Hit it. Come on now. And subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to do this. Because I need the inspiration. I need to know you're there. And I appreciate everyone there. Leave a comment. I love to have the dialogue. So this is a USA geared video. This is the roster, a little refresher. Of course, the big news, Flo Balogun, part of this team. I'll give you my projected 11 here in a couple minutes. I had a little fun with it. I don't truly believe that 11 is going to look like this, but I'm pretty sure. Flo Balogun, Tim Ream, and Tyler Adams are the two probable starters that are not with this team due to injury. This is still a great roster without them. A few other guys not quite ready to come in. And BJ Callahan, the interim coach, explaining why guys like John Brooks and many others may not have been called in. But this is a good team. I'm looking forward to seeing what they could do. They're going to get 2 games. The question is, do they get the final? And the USA will be playing Mexico, which are at the end of a cycle where they didn't make the knockout stages in the World Cup. New coach Diego Coca, who was a very grinded-out, defensive-minded coach at Atlas. That's how he got the job. And now he's been given the reins of Mexico, and he is ushering younger players, which many thought should have been done at the World Cup. They went with the older guard. There was a lot of injuries. Mexico had it tough, but there's players there. But it's not Mexico at its prime, and I think even though I said Canada is the favorite because they're seeded, the U.S. should have the target on their back, right? They are the reigning champs in the Nations League. They are the reigning champs in the Gold Cup. They had the best performance in the World Cup. Mexico didn't make the knockouts. Canada flamed out. Although I'm not too harsh on Canada. It was their first World Cup since 1986. and maybe they got in over their heads. But it was a learning experience that we can rest assured in the next World Cup, which they're already qualified for, they are going to do a whole lot better. But yeah, Canada's that favorite, but the U.S., I mean, Canada will go, wait a minute. We weren't even in this tournament 2 years ago. USA won it. So we'll see what they can do. And I think Canada, real quickly, the news, Atiba Hutchinson's going to retire after this. That's a big question for Canada, as they don't have really strong defense. Above them, very, very good. Not a lot of depth, but very, very good. And they're going to get deeper because there is a pipeline pumping out talent. Guys like Moise Bombito, who plays at the Colorado Rapids. We've seen the emergence of guys like Tajon Buchanan that we may not have expected adding to that Canadian team. But they have Alphonso Davies, one of the best at his position. Jonathan David, one of the best at his position. Worldwide, I'm not just talking about CONCACAF. Eustachio, Ismail Kone, who's at Watford now, perhaps heading to the Serie A. So they have good attacking and a nice midfield, not very deep. I like the U.S. depth better. But Canada has the best player in Alphonso Davies, maybe the best two players when you include Jonathan David. I know he's not as talented as a Gio Reyna or Christian Pulisic, but the reality is Jonathan David just gets results year in, year out in Ligue 1. And Kyle Larin, I mean, this guy is they're looking at him as a $30 million player at Valladolid. Help them stay up. I like this Canadian team a lot. I'm so excited that they're here. This Nations League, you know, we had the announcement of the Gold Cup, and the Gold Cup diminishing every time. And this one's going to be highly diminished. I enjoy the Gold Cup. I'm not going to not watch it. The roster is out there. You can check it out. It's a mostly MLS-based team, but there's some interesting introductions like Alejandro Zendejas, a few crossovers, a guy like Georgi Mihalovic. It should be a fun tournament. But, you know, if the Nations League is growing in strength, and from 2 years it was kind of big to huge, this is backed up by, you know, FIFA. This is clearly USA and Mexico and Canada are prioritizing this with how they look at the Gold Cup. I don't think that's going to change. The Gold Cup is going to struggle, you know, with the Copa America around the corner in 2024. Other priorities. If Nations League and Copa America are priorities, what's going to happen with the Gold Cup? Is it going to be a junior tournament? You can't stop progress. You can't stop progress. And this Nations League is part of this new rush towards this world order of football. And that's not bad. And I can't tell you, we're all going to enjoy it, especially on the West Coast. 10 p.m. Eastern time. I live in Charlotte and New York. I'm just messing with you. And I live in Washington, D.C., and I got to be up at 5. Sorry. Think of how I feel when I got to get up at 3 in the morning to watch English Premier League. Suck it up. You're going to stay up for it. Stop whining. I love my folks on the East Coast. I love you guys, but deal with it. So, yeah, it's at 10 p.m. It's on Paramount Plus. It's on TUDN, I believe. So, we're going to certainly enjoy. I forgot that Paramount was still involved with this. I mean, they've been very busy with other properties, so hope they're not stretched too thin. I'm sure they'll have a nice production. So, this is a big deal. This is, I think we're going to be hit by it. How this tournament's growing. And when it comes around again, I mean, we went through that qualification process. There's going to be a time where the USA doesn't qualify for these semifinals. I mean, maybe. I mean, they did it pretty comfortably, but not that comfortably. So you never know if they stub their toe. It might happen, and it may happen sooner. Even though I think the US is destined to be the power here, but it's going to be crowded with Canada, and Mexico's going to get things right and start emerging up into that area. So, let's talk about the U.S. team. By the way, the coaching search continues. Matt Crocker has interviewed 10-plus candidates for the job. From France, England, this was the article, Germany, Spain, and Central America. Jesse Marsch doesn't seem to be the front runner anymore from some of the reports we're seeing. If he hasn't been announced by now, I don't think he is. It feels like it's getting close, at least to tell us who it is. I have a feeling, and don't shoot the messenger here, I have a feeling because Jesse Marsch doesn't feel like he's the front runner. They're interviewing. We have been told that Greg Berhalter is still a candidate. In this camp, we have had unsolicited comments from Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah, two of the 5 or 6 biggest stars in the U.S., saying how much they want Greg Berhalter to be there, in their own words. I'm starting to think when you look at all those lines, it's going to be Greg Berhalter. And now, Greg Berhalter has been reported as possibly getting a job in Holland. Club America in Mexico has come up. There was one about Swansea City. You're seeing a coach who's highly in demand. I mean, they're not, these reports have come out. Could go to Holland. Everyone said, oh, he's going to get an MLS gig. Well, he's pretty highly regarded. Do I want Greg Berhalter? No. But if it's a guy that's kind of the same profile with Greg Berhalter, I want to go with what the players feel. I want to go with a guy who hit his spots, winning the Nations League, winning the Gold Cup, making it to the round of 16 of the World Cup, and just move on from there. He's kind of earned it, as much as many people don't agree. Would I like a more high-profile European coach or a South American coach? Sure. But if it's Jesse Marsch or if it's Jim Curtin, I don't know. But I'm telling you, the clues are there that says to me that Greg Berhalter is going to come back. So we'll discuss that at a later time. But that's going to happen soon. We'll have a video for you. There's a lot of red tape with it as well, because you have to explain it, because there was a dicey situation with this, with the Reynas. So, and then what happens to Gio Reyna, who's going to be a big part of this team here. It's just that I think, U.S. Soccer is probably going to say, well, this guy did this. It may just be one of those situations where they go, well, let's not shake it up too much. And the players have clout. The players have clout now. They didn't have it 2 years ago, but their opinions matter now with regards to who should be in the coach. And they'll be listened to. And right now they're saying Berhalter. Okay, let's get back into, here's my projected 11. And I'm pretty sure about, 9 of these, I'm pretty sure about 10 of them. Matt Turner's going to be in goal. He's also with the Gold Cup, so we'll see a lot of Matt Turner, which is great. We just got to fortify that so we don't have to worry about a goalkeeper battle. We need as few battles as possible. We want a number one and stamp it. Jedi Robinson at left back. Again, he was in a lot of best 11s from the Premier League. Right back will be Serginho Dest. I don't think there's any question there. You have a couple center backs that have been getting regular games, which, Walker Zimmerman's not going to go from World Cup starter to out for guys that haven't been tested at this level. Austin Trusty. Chris Richards hasn't played a lot. So Miles Robinson has played in these games a couple years ago. He's here. So I believe it's going to be Miles Robinson and Walker Zimmerman centrally. I feel pretty firm about that. Maybe Chris Richards comes in for Miles Robinson, although Zimmerman, I think you lock in at this situation. And then he can hand on to the baton down the road for this next group of center backs, which are very, very good. Think of Mark McKenzie, who's not here, and Cameron Carter-Vickers. Our center back future is in good shape. The midfield, with no Tyler Adams, and there's no Kellen Acosta, who was basically the direct replacement for Adams at the World Cup. Luca de la Torre, who in a different game than Mexico makes sense, but Gio Reyna was classified as a midfielder, so he should get in there. And this is where it gets interesting for the U.S. because he will be more of a classic number 10, position that he should play very well. There you have, that means the inverted midfield with Musa and Weston McKennie as that engine room, protecting Reyna. You could bring in Johnny Cardoso, but again, very green. Do you bring in a guy like that? And that would be at the expense of Gio Reyna. This is a chance to see what Gio can do. Hand him the reins. I'm pretty confident that's what the midfield is going to look like. Up front, Christian Pulisic, lock it in. Tim Weah on the wings. I'm going to flow Balogun in there, but it kind of goes against what I've said about everything else. A guy who has no U.S. national team, senior national team pedigree. Do you put him as the starter? I think I'm putting Balogun there just to be ahead of it, but it should be Ricardo Pepi, right? Feel comfortable with both those guys. But I'll put Flo. He's going to get minutes in this competition, maybe 30 minutes here. I'm going to keep him at starter, but that's the one position maybe I'm trying to be a little too cute here with you guys. But that's the 11. They are going to they should be pretty deep there. Ream and Adams are going to be missed. Mexico, there's a new generation with Santiago Jimenez, who was huge at Feyenoord this past season. Eric Sanchez, Edson Alvarez. It's really his team to lead now with Herrera and others gone. No Chucky Lozano. Alexis Vega, who was one of their best, was one of the best, if not the best player for Mexico at the World Cup. Tecatito, who has missed the whole year, he'll be back as well. So it's you look at it, there's talent there in Mexico. The USA, a defensive team at every step. We saw that particularly at the World Cup. With Gio Reyna coming in, I think they sacrificed some of that defensive verve, certainly no Tyler Adams. And then they go for it. I think there's going to be goals in this game. Let's call it 3, and I think the U.S. get through and will play Canada, who will be pressed by Panama in the final. So a lot going on there. I love what the U.S. are doing, and I just need a coach, whoever that is. And look, I'm not sympathizing for Craig Berhalter. I'd rather go a complete other direction, just reading what I see. I'm usually right about these things. And I love what the Nations League is all about. And Vegas, baby. So there you go. Check out the Soccer OG podcast where all podcasts are available. Like and subscribe us here on my page under my name, Max Bretos. After the game, we will recap everything we saw, and we'll get ready for a final, we hope. But this is going to be fun. Get a little extra cafecito out there on the East Coast. It's worth it. USA-Mexico for the 76th meeting. Best rivalry in the sport. Best national team rivalry in the sport.